Okay, here we go. So we are going to start standing, as I mentioned, and I'm not sure if Eleanor, if you have a foam roller or not. I'm hoping that you do. Oh, there's Jen. Hi, Jen. But if you don't have a foam roller, you can use a chair for the standing parts, and for the ground, you can use a little mini ball or a pillow. All right, so we are going to take that foam roller, place it right on the ground in front of us, and do a little breathing exercise. So we're standing tall, fill those lungs with air on your inhale, and then on your exhale, we're going to lengthen the spine by pushing that foam roller away from us, spreading the toes out wide, letting the legs lengthen out. So think of this as almost like your downward facing dog, and then let's bend the knees and start to curl your body back to your start position. Let's do that a couple more times. So inhale to grow tall. Exhale and press the foam roller away. Let your bum go back. Let your arms reach forward. Find that length. And if it feels really tight back there, just move or sway a little. No sense in holding that tension. And then slowly curl yourself back up to your standing position. And let's try one more like that. Exhale as you reach it away. Each time you do this, I want you to see if you can challenge yourself to go a little bit further. And then inhale again and exhale, round and curl yourself up nice and easy. Good. So thinking about more of the back of the shoulder here, I'm going to do a version of what I just did to the side. So as I reach my foam roller to one corner of my mat, I'm going to reach my hips to the opposite corner. So if you think on this diagonal, you've got that stretch happening from around the shoulder blade, down into the hip, maybe even into your IT band, and then come on back up to center. And then take it over to the other 45. Let your hips go in the opposite direction. Feeling that length through the side. Inhale there. And just notice as you do this, one more time each side, is one side a little tighter than the other? Usually it's your dominant side that can get a little bit tighter. And bring it in. Let's do one more to the other side. Exhale as you reach it away. Cool. And then roll yourself back up through center. Come all the way up to standing. And let's take a side position. So I'm going to place my hand on the foam roller for stability. And I want to just let this hip open up. So I'm going to just let the legs swing like a pendulum, keeping the upper body relatively still as you let that leg swing back and forth. Make sure that your supporting leg has a little bit of a bend so you're not hyperextending. Good. A couple more swings. And no muscular tension on this, just working through that joint range of motion. Good, and let the pendulum come back down. You can place your foot down for a second. Now we're going to take the pendulum to the 45. So we're going to cross it over and bring it to the back 45, front and back. And just go as big as your body will allow you to go without the upper body swinging. And you're letting that leg feel heavy. Let's try 3 and 2. And one more. Good. And take that leg down on the ground, do a little march out, and then let's switch it over to the other side. And again, I'm using my hand on my hip as I do the pendulum motion because I find that's a little bit of an anchor. It helps keep that hip from hiking up. It's grounding, if you will. And let's try 3, 2, and one more swing here. And let that pendulum calm down a bit. And then taking it across to the 45, front and back. Just increasing that mobility through the hips so you can go through the rest of the class, feeling freedom there. 2 and 1. And bringing it back to center, do a little march out again, just to release any tension you're feeling in your legs. Let's take that foam roller into our hands now, going into those shoulders. We're gonna inhale, reach that foam roller overhead. Exhale, bring it slightly behind you. So depending upon how tight your shoulders are, you might be able to get it behind you or just bring it to the top of your head. Play with that range. Inhale up, exhale, bring it back, and then down. And just notice, is your body trying to find movement in other places in order for you to achieve this range in your shoulder? So in other words, has your rib cage popped out? Can you tighten through those core muscles just a bit? Last one. Good. You're gonna bring it in front of you. Let's try a little rotation. So we're gonna rotate to the side, going as far as you can without your hips coming along for the ride. We're just gonna go into that middle back. Inhale, center. Exhale, other side, rotate. And bringing it back to center and rotate. And bringing it back to center, and one more time, rotate to the other side. Good, now let's take that stance a little bit wider, and we're gonna do a downward figure eight, and then an upward. So I'm just gonna move my hands from one side of my body to the other. So I'm going down on the one side, like I'm rowing, like I'm putting my oar, is it called an oar? My paddle in the water, and I'm going one side, other side, one side, other side. And like you did with the hips, try have no muscular tension here. Let it come from the shoulder joint. 3 and 2 and 1. And if you feel uncoordinated, that's okay. It's first thing in the morning. Inhale, exhale as you roll it down. Let's take the foam roller onto the ground in front of you. And we're gonna slowly come down one knee and then the other. And let's take the foam roller away from us as we reach the hips back. And then roll it up nice and easy. And we're gonna exhale as we reach it out. Palms are facing in, so you're getting a little bit of a different angle of the shoulder here. And let's try one more. Reach here. And then bring it up nice and easy. Okay, so being very careful, I'm gonna place my foot on the roller, okay? So that you have nice mobility through that foot. Roll that foot out, keeping your hips square. And let's go for 3 and 2. And on 1, we want to lean into it so that we're stretching that hamstring. Now you can take the foam roller up higher on the leg so you've got more support. Or if I had a block or a pillow, I'd be doing the same thing. So I'm just elevating that leg, lengthening out through that hamstring. And now take your hands away from your hips and place them either on the ground or on that foam roller. And I'm just gonna draw the leg forward a few inches and then back. And if your calves are feeling tight, this is gonna feel amazing. As you roll back and forth, reach it out and pulling it in. That back hip is opening and then bringing it back nice and easy. Good, and now place your foot back on top one more time. Let's take the back toes, curl them under, lift that leg up and give yourself a nice runner's lunge position. So I'm opening up that back hip a little bit more. Now, can you go down and up a couple of times? And on that last one, we're gonna hold it for one breath. And let's take that knee all the way down. Good, stay there. And we're gonna reach that hand, both hands up towards the ceiling. Now we're gonna tilt the pelvis. So you've got a little bit more stretch happening through the hip flexor and maybe even into your obliques. And if that foot feels at all discomfort on the foam roller, just take it onto the ground. And then let your hands float down. Slowly release that leg. And let's switch sides. Let's start by rolling out that foot. Being careful you don't go too far. Morning. And again, if you don't have a foam roller, just use the pillow and just moving that leg back and forth. We're going to place the hands beside that and take that leg long so you get that stretch. Actually, you can start with your hips on the hands on the hips if you want. And then once you feel you can go a little deeper into the stretch, take your hands on the foam roller or on the ground. And then just sliding that leg away and bringing it back. Last one like that. And then bring yourself all the way back. So you're in that lunge position again. Curl your back toes under. We're going to take that back knee off of the mat. Lengthen out. So leg is nice and long. And then we're going to touch that knee down. Lifting it back up a couple of times. And then let's hold that lengthened position. Make any adjustments you need to. Head reaching forward, ankle reaching back. And then slowly slide that leg down. Opening up the chest, reaching those arms towards the ceiling. So I've caught my toe curled under here so that it helps support the movement. Take a breath in. And then exhale, let it come down. Let's bring those knees together. Slide yourself into your child's pose one more time. Staying connected to this position and just breathing. And then when you're ready, take it all the way up. All right, so while we're in this position, we're gonna work through that fascia on the quads. So I'm going to get you to prop yourself up with the foam roller under your hips. So if I had a pillow, I would do the same thing. And I'm just going to take my arms right on the ground in front of me, elbows are bent, peel my legs to a lengthened position, and then just start rolling yourself forward and back. You can go the length of your quadricep muscle, or you can just keep that foam roller up closer to the top of your hip, depending upon what feels tight. And then we're going to change the angle of the feet, which can be interesting. So turn your toes in towards each other, and then try that roll out again. And then turn your toes out so you're reaching your heels towards each other. Just a soft rolling back and forth. Use your breath when you feel that stuck energy. Just trying to get that muscle nice and relaxed. Good. And then let's find those hips. Place your toes down on the mat. We're going to open up that chest a little bit more and then start to bring one heel in. So I've got that foam roller propped up underneath my hips, going through some range of motion in the top of that quad and hamstring. And then lengthen that leg out and try a few on the other side. Breathing in and out. Keeping that connection of the core, and then dropping down onto those knees. Good, and from that position, we're gonna take the foam roller and place it behind us so that we're propped up on our shoulder blades. So you should feel a nice release in the front of those legs. Let's take that moment to roll back into the foam roller. Place your hands behind your head so you've got that support. And then just breathe into this for a second before we move. So I've got my underneath my shoulder blades, just giving myself a little prop up here. And then I'm just going to press into my feet and lift my hips up. So go ahead and do that. And as you do that, you're naturally going to roll up and down that foam roller. So just allow your hips, your shoulders to relax back. Let your head release into your hands like a little hammock supporting your head. And then lengthen those hips back down. In this position, let's pull one knee into the chest and stretch the other leg long. We're going to take it into a hamstring stretch. So take your hands underneath and then lengthen that leg a few times up and down. Give that leg a chance to relax as you lengthen it before you go into the hold. And then holding that leg up in front of you, flexing your foot, and then let's play with the ankle position. Try pointing and flexing your toes. This little bit of a propped up position should help you give a little bit more stretch in that hamstring. And then bend your knee again. Let's grab the top of it, pull it in towards you. And then I'm going to take my opposite hand on the outside and just draw it across. Stretching through more of the IT band than the side of the glute. We'll get to that in a bit. And then take it in the same side hand and just bring it out to the side. Come on back to center with both feet. Let's roll it out again before we switch sides. Just allow your back that release, nice and easy. If you find a spot that's particularly tender, you can hang out there. Careful of your ponytails if you have your hair down. And then bring those hips back down. Let's pull the other knee in, lengthen the leg you just stretched, and then take it into an up and down motion. Sometimes the muscle, it needs a little extra attention before we take it right into the stretch. Now holding it there, you'll find you'll get more out of it. And then point and flex your toes. Working through that calf and that ankle. And hold that stretch. Inhale. And exhale, let's bend the knee. Take your hand on the outside of the knee, bring it across, stretching through that side. Inhale there. And then on your next exhale, let's switch your hands going to the outside. And I'm bringing that back to center. Lengthen your legs. Take a breath in. Open up the chest one more time. Give yourself a nice stretch through that back. And then bringing your chin to your chest. Slowly let your hands come forward and roll yourself all the way up. Reaching towards those toes. Inhale here. And exhale as you roll it back up nice and easy. Good. Okay, so let's do a hip release. And then we're going to sit up on that foam roller. So we're going to take the foam roller on the ground in front of you and take your feet on top of it. And then allow your spine to roll down section by section until you're resting your head and neck. Okay, so going really methodically with this, we're going to lengthen the legs out, rotate those toes so the knees are out to the side, and then I bring it back in. So I always find the slower I go with this, the more control I have, and the foam roller doesn't move away from me as much. If it does move away from you, just reposition your feet and just let those hips and legs circle out and around. And then we're going to take it in the other direction. So open the knees, send the legs out, rotate to pull it back in. You might find one direction feels a little bit easier, a little smoother. One more here. Good. And then bring that foam roller nice and close to your bum. So our feet are still on top, and I'm going to tilt my pelvis so my tailbone is coming towards me and continue to roll the hips up. So Maria, be careful with this. If your hamstrings are feeling quite tight, just go up a few inches and then release it. And again, exhale. Just a little hip roll, opening through the chest and rolling it back down. And one more time, exhale. Now let's see if we can float one leg up to tabletop and place it back down. And the other leg. Just doing a little marching while our hips are level. One more each side. You can also do this with your hips on the ground. Just feel whatever you need to do. Roll those hips back onto your mat. Tailbone is heavy. And then let your calves come on top of your foam roller. So with a little bit of pressure, I'm going to turn my toes inward and outward. And what I really want to do is get the calf muscle to find a little bit of release. And if you do a lot of walking, I don't need to tell you, this is going to be a little tender. So dictate how much pressure you put on those calves. 2 and 1. Now press into your palms, do a little squeeze through the glutes, lift up those hips, and then roll it out again. So I'm just taking a little bit more of my body weight into my calves, off of the mat. And then settle those hips back down. Slide that foam roller up to your thighs. So it's on the backs of the thighs, just below the bum. I'm gonna do that same thing. I'm gonna lift my hips and internally rotate those feet. Open and closing. Getting into the backs of the legs. And then settle those hips down. Okay, moving into a little bit of a different position now. I'm gonna get you to roll yourself up. So you're sitting up tall, and then place your bum on top of the foam roller. So we're gonna start with the feet, knees, and hips in a squared off position. And I'm just gonna roll to the top of that hip flex or hamstring, and then back into my glute. So keeping your chest open as you do this. Reach. Good. And then we're going to go right on top, and we're going to lean into one side. So I'm just going to let my knees fall down to that side, and then use the one arm to support the movement as you roll into the glute med. And that side leg is coming up next. So just mentally prepare yourself for that. Now the leg that you're turned into, turn a little bit more, and we're going to take that bottom leg and stretch it out and take the top leg over top. So you have less of your body weight. I'm going to use the hands and then roll up and down that IT band. Oh. Moaning is perfectly fine and encouraged. Last one. Good. Now bend that knee so that you are sitting with the full leg from the hip to the knee on top of the foam roller. And let's draw the other one across. I'm going to go into a nice little rotational stretch here. Grab the back of the foam roller and lengthen up through your spine, sitting it nice and tall. Breathe into that space you're creating and go a little deeper. Inhale, come back to center, and exhale, just a little counter twist. Allow that chest to open. I'm grabbing the back of my foam roller, to support the movement. And then I'm gonna bring myself back to center, unravel the legs and switch sides. So now I wanna go onto the other hip. So let those hips and knees turn to a little bit of the side position so you can roll up and down that glute. And then we're gonna come all the way over and that lengthen that bottom leg, take the top leg over top. And use both of your hands if you want for support so that you're not putting all of your body weight into that IT band. Use a little bit more of the upper body strength as you need to. Oh, jeez. I'm right there with you guys. Breathing in and out. Don't forget that breathing. And I'm bringing it back to center. When you've had enough of that, bring yourself right up into a seated position. Wrap your leg around. Sitting up nice and tall and take yourself into a nice spine twist. Breathing in and get a little bit taller. Slowly come back to center. And then switch sides. Grab the back of your foam roller. Opening that chest. And then slowly come all the way back. And come on off the foam roller. Yay, you did it. Okay, we're not done yet though. We're gonna take the foam roller so that it's lengthwise in front of our body and come into a sideline position. So the top leg gets to come on top of the foam roller. From my knee to my foot, and I'm gonna lie all the way down. Bottom arm is just wrapped around your head, or you can take a pillow there. And then just let that top leg move away from you. Your hand can come onto the foam roller for a bit of support. That works for you. And I want to go up and into that inner thigh and turn my body into my mat. So both of my forearms are down, and I'm going to go a little deeper into that inner thigh stretch. Opening up that hip. Getting into those tight spaces. And then let's come all the way back down. Return so that your hips are stacked, your bottom leg is straight. We're going to take the top arm up and start to open up that chest. And let's make it a little more fluid today. So when you come forward with the hands, swoop it around and then open that chest. Bring it across so you're going into a circle. Slow and very deliberate. The two places that we definitely hold most of our tension are our shoulders and our hips. So if you feel yourself really tense in those areas, taking some time to do some range of motion is so good. And last one, hold this back stretch. If you can do both hands, reach them out into a T position. And then if you want, lengthen that leg that's on the foam roller, reach it further away, or you can keep your knee bent, whatever feels good. So you're in a full body rotation, full spine rotation. Take some deep inhales and exhales. And then slowly bring that back hand all the way back to start position. We're gonna grab that foam roller, drop it up underneath us. So I've got it underneath my rib cage now. Just about, just underneath your armpit. And let's bring those elbows to a bent position, fingertips behind your head. Top elbow's gonna move down and reach it back enough to feel movement across the bottom rib cage. So those little muscles underneath your arm, they can sometimes stop the shoulder from doing its full range of motion. And after your next one, just hold that, look up towards the ceiling. Allow your body to come back to center, stretch the bottom arm, stretch the top arm out, open it up, and see if you can, maybe you can touch your palms. I cannot, but you can just reach in that general direction. And exhale, lift that arm. And let's bring it all the way over once again. Reach, reach, reach. Okay, so let's try this. We're gonna lift the bottom arm and the top arm together and then down. And exhale, use those obliques, those muscles on the side of your body to lift those arms. Last one. Taking your hands back. Let's open the legs into a 90-degree bend on the back leg and on the front leg. Good, and take that full molar nice and close to your hip. Let's come into your mermaid stretch. Slide that top hand up and over. Just totally release through that bottom arm. Still lots of control as you move the full molar from away from the body. And on this last one, I'm going to turn myself into the full molar. Use that full molar to find some extra length through that torso. Looking down in between the arms. Keep a soft elbow so you're not hyperextending. And then roll yourself all the way back up. A little bit of extension here. So lift your chest. Maybe look up towards your ceiling. And then try to keep your hips down on the mat. Let's take that top hand back up. Take the back leg behind you and bring it to the front. Slide your full molar to the fronts of your legs. Okay, spine stretch with your full molar. So I'm going to take the full molar and roll it away from me. Reach towards those toes. And then roll that full molar in. Stack the spine. Let's try it one more time. Flex your feet up. Exhale as you reach towards your toes. And then use that full molar to stack your spine one vertebrae at a time. Awesome. All right, let's go to side two. So start with that full molar nice and close to your body so that you can take it top leg on top. And then the closer it is, the more control you're going to have. So I've got it just above my knee here. And your hand can either go on the ground or on the full molar to assist with this stretch. And just notice how wonderful that feels. And let's do one more here. We're taking it a little deeper. Now prop yourself up with your forearms, lifting your chest off of your mat and going a little higher into that inner thigh. The other foot is active. So you can either curl your toes under or keep the foot down. But you're going to keep it engaged. So as you move that top leg, this bottom leg stays down. And then bring yourself all the way back. Let's roll onto that sideline position again. And let's take that arm up and around. Circle past your hip, back to your front. Slow and steady. Paying particular attention as you take the hand behind you of your shoulder position. And on this next one, let's see if we can take it all the way back. Both arms reaching into your spine twist. And that top leg, just check in with it. Where does it want to be? Do you want to stretch it further? Or do you want to bring it in closer? Or somewhere in between? Breathing in and out. You know, there's that temptation when we want to come out of the stretch too soon, the body hasn't fully let go. And if you just work through that, you'll find a little more openness, a little more stretch. And then bring it all the way back up. Nice and slow. Bringing yourself back to your start position. And let's prop ourselves up for that shoulder position underneath. Knees are stacked, fingertips reaching behind the head. And that top arm is just going to rotate down towards the full molar and then up towards the ceiling. Nice and easy. I don't know, for me, it is if I had to say the top two tight spots in the body, it's a close race between the IT band and this little serratus anterior muscle that we're doing right now. And last one, open that chest. Let's just stay there for a breath or two. And then let that shoulder come back in line. So I'm going to reach the bottom arm out and take the top arm and just reach over towards my hand and then lifting myself up past the hip and down and up. And one more here. Now, can you take both arms up and both arms down? And both arms lift and slowly lower it down. And let's take that top arm all the way up. We're going to open up that stance. Prop yourself up onto the full molar with that hand. Take a second to check in with your leg position. And then outside arm is going to reach up and over into that mermaid stretch. And bringing it back. And open. Good, and one more time. Reach. Now, can you rotate the chest so you're reaching your hands onto the full molar? Maybe slide them further away and reach that full molar away from your body. Or if you wanted to, you could use it as a prop for your head. And then slowly roll that full molar in towards you, bringing your spine into a little bit of extension. Open it up. Look up towards the ceiling. Inhale, take that back hand up and all the way over. And we're going to take those legs out in front of us. Okay, for the final few minutes of class, gosh, that went by fast. I'm going to ask you to lay down, tailbone to head on your tailbone. Excuse me. Now, we're not going to be here for too long. Just giving that spine a little moment to lengthen out. I'm taking your arms out to the side of the T position. If you can control the movement, allow your body to kind of sway back and forth. So I'm just kind of swaying my one hand off the ground and then the other one until I find that ease and rest between the shoulder blades, and then lifting those arms up and droop them down towards the ground, really heavy through that chest. Let the shoulders release into the full molar. And on this next one, let's wrap ourselves into a hug. Reach for your shoulder blades. Peel your head, neck, and shoulders up off of the full molar. Rolling yourself back down with ease. Unravel the arms. And let's try that other side. Wrap yourself into a hug. Lift your head, neck, and shoulders up, looking towards your knees. And then roll it back down, slow and steady, taking your fingertips onto the ground once again. And breathe and rest. Rock your tailbone towards you and then away from you a couple times so you can find that length through the lower back as well. And then I know this is going to be your favorite part of class. When you're ready, roll off the foam roller. Take it out from underneath you. Just place it off to the side for a second. Now, I know for me, I feel all this extra length in my back body, and I hope you do too. That's the intent of using the foam roller. So just close your eyes and enjoy that for a moment. We're not quite finished yet. We're going to come to a standing pose and then end class there. But you're just taking a moment to smell the roses. And then when you're ready, a couple of options. You can lift those arms up in front of you and roll up the center of your body, or just come to the side, rolling yourself up either way. Take a stretch forward. And then we're going to make our way onto our hands and knees. Let's take that foam roller in front of you one more time. And then come in nice and close to the foam roller. Tuck those toes. So you've got a good stable shoulder position. Roll your hips up and then walk your feet in towards that foam roller. And from there, lengthen that foam roller a little bit further away from you, feeling that hamstring stretch out one more time. Inhale. Exhale, drop the head, neck, and shoulders. And then bend your knees as deeply as you can. Roll the foam roller in towards your body, and then start to roll it up your legs as you roll your spine up. We're going to come all the way up, overhead reach, arms long, feet open towards the front, and then come into your side bend. From your side bend position, let's look down, turn the torso down towards the ground, swoop that foam roller around to the other side, turning to the side and standing up nice and tall. Let's try one more on the other side. Exhale, side bend. Keep nice length through that torso as you look down. Engage the abdominals as you swoop it around to the other side. Turn your body to face sideways, bringing it all the way up and taking the foam roller down in front of you. Let's take it in front of us one more time. Good. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of an opening between my front leg and my back leg, like a natural, and take that foam roller and lean it forward as you sink those hips back. This should feel a little different than it did at the beginning of class. And then scoop and roll yourself up. Let's step those feet together. Step the other side back. Hips are squared as you reach. And then take it all the way back, nice and easy. You can release your hands from the foam roller. Take a nice cleansing breath. Inhale at the top. And exhale, let it all go. Now, just a little check-in. How are you feeling?
Wonderful.
Oh, good. I'd asked that question a little hesitantly.
Very good.